my gosh, that was nice. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, let's do call and response. Good evening, everyone. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much. I'm Rich Lloyd, president of Hastings College, and it is a pleasure to gather with you this evening to celebrate the arts at HC. As we know, Hastings College has a rich history of fostering amazing artists and performance. I must say that during my years trying to work on art in elementary school all the way through, on my report card there was always NI. They didn't want to give an F, so they always said needs improvement. But then when I would take my aptitude test, like who should you be in the future, like where should you go, every time it came back is you should be in the arts or in the music. So even though I had the NI, like in actually doing the work, I had that aspiration to surround myself by talented artists. And I've made that a choice in my life, and it's an honor to be here tonight to do that as well. The Lloyds, the family, the Lloyds, have our own history with the arts at Hastings College. Both our children participated in theater productions. Notice I didn't say that I was in a theater production, our children were. Our son Zach was Toto in The Wizard of Oz. Our daughter Megan was in Raggedy Ann and Andy. My brother and sister, Mark Lloyd and Jenny Lloyd, were in the production of Quality Street. My father, Professor Darrell Lloyd, had 3 original plays produced at the theater. While he majored in philosophy at Hastings College, our son also received an art minor. My spouse, Monica, who's sitting here, is a really good painter herself, and she enjoyed community art painting classes that were offered at Hastings College. And I've had the honor of participating with the music department to bring dear friends, Grammy Award-winning uilleann pipe player and low whistle player Davy Spillane from Ireland, and Hall of Fame blues legend Jimmy D. Lang to campus to teach and to play concerts. But perhaps the biggest honor that I have had was to participate in holiday readings at Hastings College with my father, but that was only after Hal Doc Schiffler's passing. Although I never could match his reading of A Christmas Carol, though, he would always start that evening with, "Marley was dead to begin with." I didn't smoke like my dad and Hal did. Over the decades, the Lloyds have had the pleasure of attending choir and band concerts, recitals, lessons in carols or the Messiah, art shows, and other theater productions. And I'm really honored. I'm actually wearing my honorary Artist Guild t-shirt tonight that was given to me by the students. And Liam was the designer who's sitting over there. So Liam, thank you for acknowledging and thank you for all your great work. Liam is an amazing artist in his own right. This weekend, and as we head through every year and end up in graduation, when we're at the church and at Presbyterian Sunday doing everything, I still, forever will, get goosebumps when I hear our choir sing, "Fairest Lord Jesus." So tonight, not only my congratulations to the honorees, but I want to offer a Lloyd family thank you for enriching our lives and equally the lives of so many others. There was an art display here one time, a show that Turner was putting on with others, and I just absolutely love the phrase. And the phrase was repeated last year when we were here at this banquet as well. And this was the metaphor, and I just absolutely love this metaphor. And the artistic sort of metaphor, or Hastings College metaphor, is that we are roots on the prairie, but we all become seeds in the wind. And I just love that metaphor. So thank you to everybody here tonight, to our honorees, for all that you have done to spread the love and joy of artistic expression from this community to other communities far and wide. We are so excited to have you back on campus and to recognize your achievements. So once again, to everybody here tonight in this absolutely stunning space, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Lloyd. I'm Chelsea Lamar. I'm the Executive Director of the Hastings College Foundation, and it's an incredible honor to be here with you all this evening. I graduated in 2007 from Hastings College, and I truly feel blessed to be back in my alma mater in this role I'm currently in. I was not in the arts or the music or any of that, but I loved it, and I thought it was such a key part to what we do here, and I got to know some of the art professors, even though I didn't have them in Turner, and I had it was just a blessing to be at a school that honored the arts the way that we do at Hastings College. Thank you all for joining us this homecoming weekend to celebrate our shared history and the vibrant spirit of Hastings College. Being with all of you highlights the profound impact that this institution has had on all of our lives. filled with cherished memories and inspiring stories. I take great pride in being a Hastings College graduate, and I'm thrilled to share that pride with so many of you here today. We gather for the Fine Arts Hall of Fame, a special occasion dedicated to honoring individuals in music, theater, and art who are making meaningful contributions to their communities through the arts. Established in 2019, the Fine Arts Hall of Fame aims to recognize and preserve the legacies of those who have left a lasting impact through their creative endeavors. After tonight, we will have proudly inducted 30 individuals into the Fine Arts Hall of Fame since its establishment. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the committee members who led us in selecting this year's inductees: Dr. Louis Eckert, Dr. Jonathan Sakasitz, representing music, Dr. Kathleen Lorenzen, representing theater, Brian Poor and Turner McGee, representing art, and their dedication helps us to continually recognize and celebrate the talented artists who have emerged from Hastings College. Thank you for being part of the celebration. Together, let's honor the incredible artists among us and the lasting impact of Hastings College. Dr. Sakasitz.
Hello, everyone. I'm Turner McGee from the Art Department, and I'm here to present this honor to the late Lon Hamilton, the 1968 graduate of Hastings College. At this moment, I feel the compass of time, the past, the present, the future. We're recognizing people who have spent lives of accomplishment. And then we're brought to the present moment by a beautiful piano performance. And there's a show in the gallery by a young artist, an emerging artist, who came from Hastings College, and I guarantee he has a bright future ahead. This observation, this award, is so important to me. 2 years ago, almost to the day, I had the honor of giving Dave Stewart an award, just like this. And that night, Dave brought me an artwork that he had done that very day. He worked until the last day of his life, which was only 2 months after the presentation. And I'm so happy. I'm proud that we had a moment to tell him thank you and pay our due respects to a man who is one of Nebraska's greatest artists. Now, Juan Hamilton, you may or may not really know who Juan was, but I hope to give you something to remember if you don't know about him. This is the first time that we've given a posthumous award for the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. It required a vote of the selection committee to change the rules in order to do that. Juan was a monumentally important man and a monumentally important artist. He was born in Texas, but he grew up in South America, in Ecuador and Colombia and Venezuela, the son of Presbyterian missionaries. The Presbyterian missionary thing, I think, is significant for why he landed at Hastings College eventually. He graduated in 1968, which means that he was one of the first students who worked in the new art department at the other end of this campus. Now the old art department. But I think he, along with George Lundeen, helped to move equipment from Fuhrer Hall, where the art department was housed, over to the Kiewit building, which is where the art department was for 20 years or so. Let me tell you about the man. Look up a photograph of him. He was tall, 6'2", 6'3", very handsome. I've talked to his classmates. He was charismatic before there was risk. He was someone who I'm sure fluttered a lot of hearts at Hastings College when he was a student. George Lundeen told me that Juan was solitary. He wasn't a very talkative person. But though he was reserved, he was intense and he was productive. And the man who was chair of the art department in 1968, Gary Coulter, one of the monumental founders of our modern college, recognized him as a student, and he is the only student during those years that was awarded a solo exhibition in the art gallery. Everybody knew that Juan Hamilton was an artist who had a future. He was an artist who had a vision. He was going somewhere else, and he did. After he graduated from Hastings College, he went to graduate school at Claremont Graduate University in California, which I think in 1968, it must have been pretty rare to move on to graduate school to an MFA in art. By 1973, Juan had found his way Albuquerque, New Mexico. He wanted to know the great Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe. That is, you know, it's like saying, I'd like to know Picasso. He showed up at her door and got out of his truck and knocked on the door, and he said, do you have any work? Old Georgia O'Keeffe, the beautiful woman, one of our greatest artists, said no. And he took his disappointment and turned around, and he got halfway back to his truck. And she said, can you build a crate? And he turned around and he said, yes, ma'am, I can build a crate. And she put him to work. He fairly quickly moved from there, her handyman, to being her studio assistant, to being her studio manager, to being her personal business manager, to being, I think, her closest friend. When she died in 1986, she left just about everything to him, all of her paintings. He acquired, she had kept most of her work. She gave it all to him. And he gave a great deal of it away to the museums. When you go to the National Gallery of Art, when you go to the Chicago Art Institute, the ones that you see there, those are the ones that Juan gave to those museums. There were suspicions and allegations. She was very wealthy, very well known. Did Juan Hamilton manipulate her? Was there something that people wouldn't like? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they were just very, very close companions, and that she trusted him, and that they had a fabulous relationship. At the end of her life, she could no longer see well enough to paint, and he guided her into his art form, which was ceramics. And her last work in ceramics, look at it. It looks like her paintings in three-dimensional form. Not in color, but in the softness of the contours, the beauty of the volumes. Last night I watched some old documentary films of George O'Keeffe at the end of her life. He's always present in the frame. You can look those films up, and I think you'll see the same thing that I did. There was a relationship of ultimate trust there, and I think that they were very close. I believe the last interview that George O'Keeffe ever did was with Charles Corral for Sunday Morning, and Juan is sitting there right next to her, and he's spurring questions. You know, he's saying, hey, what about this? And she would turn to him and she would say, well, Juan, I just simply don't remember. And he would say, well, how about so-and-so? It was a nice experience reviewing those films last night. Well, this is our first posthumous presentation, and it feels a little odd not to have someone to hand the award to, but we have one of Brian Corr's sculptures here that's a trophy, an award to Juan Hamilton, and so I'd like to observe it. I'll just set this next to Juan's trucking. Could have been a moment of silence, but now it lasts for the entire ceremony. Thank you very much for being here.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Lorenzen. I am the Design Tech faculty in the theater department currently, and I'm here to present the award to Chris Flanders, who graduated in 1991. He spent the last 3 decades immersed in live performance and creative endeavors. He began performing his career at the age of 5 in Hawaii as one of the 3 little pigs in a production of The Big Bad Wolf. After a long hiatus from performance, he moved to Nebraska and rediscovered his love of acting in high school and went on to appear in 17 stage productions while earning his degree at Hastings College. He continued his studies at the University of California in San Diego, where he received his MFA in acting and taught undergraduate acting courses for several years. Flanders has had a diverse career on stage, television, and film. His professional journeys have spanned coast to coast, and he's appeared in more than 60 stage productions across the country. His transition to screen led him to more than 50 guest appearances on television, and you can read within your program that very small list of what the rather large IMDb list is. Since 2005, Flanders has pursued artistic endeavors while working at Paramount Pictures, where he's overseen content metadata, title management, and as the director for the studio's global digital releases. He also serves as the lead guitarist for Hardshine, which is a blues-inspired rockabilly swing band. He stays active by doing triathlons as well, and is a 4-time finisher, something which I cannot say that I am doing, in the Trash Triathlon, and has spent the past 16 years racing and doing fundraising on behalf of the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles through their Legacy Triathlon series. At this time, I'd like to invite Chris Flanders up to receive his award.
Thank you very much. Many new faces here, but I'm very glad that George and his wife, George White, could be here. And I want to thank George for putting up with me during my time at Hastings. Hopefully I've matured quite a bit since then, but Hastings gave me a real opportunity to just pursue what I love, which is acting. And I really got to just jump in. In fact, George gave me my first ever lead in a play, and I just want to say thank you, George, and thank you, Hastings.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Brian Kohler. I'm the chair of the art department, and I teach the glass courses. I'm here to give an award to our second visual artist of the evening of this year, Rick Beck, the class of 1982. Unfortunately, Rick is not with us today. He's alive, but he's not with us. So someone else will be taking the award on his behalf. So Rick Beck, in collaboration with his wife, Valerie, is an internationally recognized for his cast glass sculpture, and has a studio practice spanning over 40 years. Most of his time at Hastings College was spent in the glass blowing studio, maximizing his understanding and honing his ability to manipulate the challenge graduation, Beck earned his MA and MFA in glass at Southern Illinois University under Bill Boyson in 1989. He's gone on to create large-scale cast glass sculpture, which he emphasizes, or which he describes as a synthesis of human and mechanical form with an emphasis on formal aspects. Today, Rick's work is widely represented in museums and private collections across the U.S. and internationally. Beck has been featured on many covers and in many articles in the most well-known glass publications, including New Glass Review, American Craft, Glass Magazine, and American Style. He's also had numerous biographies and articles published. A National Endowment for the Arts and North Carolina Arts Council Fellow, Beck has taught at the Penland School of Craft, the Pilchuck Glass School, and the Appalachian Center for the Crafts. Beck's solo exhibitions include the Glasmuseet Ebeltoft in Denmark, Kentucky Museum of Art and Design, Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts, the Museum of Nebraska, and the Museum of Nebraska Art. His work is held in the collections of the Mint Museum in Charlotte, North Carolina, State University in Raleigh, the Lowe Art Museum in Miami, the Weston Museum of Fine Arts in Wisconsin, the Seven Bridges Foundation Collection in Connecticut, as well as at the Dutton Lancet Company in Hastings. In 2002, Beck donated a sculpture entitled Snake and Bird Egg to his alma mater, Hastings College. It is on display on the second floor of the Morrison Reeves Science Center. Throughout much of his career, Beck and his wife Valerie lived and worked near the Asheville Arts District in North Carolina and now reside in scenic Hawaii. So the award tonight will be accepted by Rick's sister Katie and his uncle Charlie. You're here. You're not. Oh, yeah, good.
I am Katie Beck Matthews, class of 1984 here at Hastings College, and I'm thankful for our Uncle Charlie for standing in with me. Also representing Rick here tonight is his classmate, my husband Mike Matthews, our cousin Stephanie Bliss, and our aunt Margaret Herms and Charlie. And you're in the class of 65. So I thought I graduated a minute ago. Rick would like us to recognize and thank this family called Hastings College. Surrounded by amazing students, faculty, and the Hastings community, Rick began his journey in glass and art and life here. Introduced to glass here, in his freshman year, Rick was smitten. And then he was introduced to his future wife, Valerie Thomas, who's a Hastings girl, and also of that distinguished class of 1982. Raise your hand if you're from the class of 1982. There's a lot. And, Rick was twice smitten. Val would be and is his collaborator and co-conspirator in art and in life. And we would be remiss if we didn't add the fact that we are acknowledging that she is receiving this honor tonight too. Those are just a fraction of the life-changing experiences that are part of Hastings College. Here, Richard Byrd taught Rick craftsmanship. Here, Sidney Vanderwerf taught Rick about art. It was here that Dr. Lee Underhill taught Rick about beauty. And apparently I had something to do with his success too, because he says I graduated 2 years after him, and I was in a glassblowing class with John Elias. And I must have talked him into letting Rick, after graduating, come back. He was in the business world at the time. I must have talked John Elias into letting Rick come back and use the glassblowing studio. And John Elias ended up being a mentor for Rick, and he showed Rick a way to move forward in making a life and a living in the world of art. Rick also wants us to acknowledge our parents, two school teachers who made great sacrifices so we could attend this amazing school. Otherwise, he also wanted us to recognize Charlie and Margaret Herms. They have been unwavering in their support and encouragement. And he wanted me to say this, so I have to. We have this grandpa, Everett Herms, who wasn't a man of a lot of words, but he was big in stature, and his presence filled the room. And you knew when you did something wrong because he was very stern. He must have grabbed Rick by the ear a couple times, and one time he said to him, "You do your best, your very best, and you do it all the time." And that's what Rick based his life on. So, in conclusion, Rick wanted us to thank you and his family here at Hastings College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Louis Eckhart, and I teach in the music department, where I serve as director of bands and teach a few other things. And I'd like to welcome you all also to this beautiful evening and this beautiful ceremony in this beautiful space. The arts are so important, and in today's climate, the arts are under attack. And so I thank you all for your support, and I'd like to ask you all to continue to support the arts in every way that you can. Visit an art gallery. There's an exhibit opening tonight. Go to a concert. Go to a theater production. And not only go, pay for tickets. Put your name on the list of patrons. We need it now more than ever. And so I'm sorry to take that brief moment of time, but I know I'm preaching to the choir because you're all here. So thank you once again for coming. When I was a student at Hastings College, it's funny that there are all these 1982 grads because I was born halfway through your senior year. So, yeah. But one thing that I remember when I was a student here at Hastings College, Dr. Robin Kuzer gave an invited faculty lecture, and he kept speaking that we stand on the shoulders of giants. And that is something that I learned in a way here at Hastings College that has stuck with me my entire life. And now I'm kind of at that age where I'm realizing how very, very true it is. And I remember walking the hallowed halls of Feuer Hall and hearing all these names. I heard all these names. And of course, Robin had zillions of stories about everybody. And they were stories that shouldn't be told in polite company sometimes, but we all know those stories and love those stories. In fact, I think I heard a few about Charlie Austin when I was a student here. And it's so cool for me now as a faculty member here to be able to honor some of those names and meet those people in a different stage of my life. It's sort of a full circle thing. And that's really kind of what Hastings College and this community here is all about, is the full circle and connecting all those things across the generations and across the years. So it is my distinct honor to introduce two wonderful individuals for the induction into the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. Mark Wary, class of 1982, is the director of vocal music at the College of Southern Nevada, where he conducts the CSN Chamber Chorale and Jazz Singers, and teaches voice and jazz appreciation. He recently completed his 30th year at CSN, where his ensembles have enjoyed memorable experiences, including a second-place finish at the Reno Jazz Festival, and performances with artists like Barry Manilow, Hugh Jackman, and Game of Thrones composer Ramin Djawadi. Born in Pawnee City, Nebraska, the son of a mortician and a voice teacher, Wary chose music over the family funeral business. One might say they were dying to get into the business. And I cannot believe I just made that joke. After graduating from Hastings College, he explored a variety of musical paths, from delivering singing telegrams and playing in funk bands to singing opera. He later joined the prestigious BMI Lehman Engel Musical Theater Workshop in New York, which sparked his passion for writing for the stage. Wary's original musicals include It's Only Business, Mr. Wives, We're Here for You, and Baritones of Love, best of the Vegas Fringe Festival in 2019, as well as the comic opera What a Wonderful Year 2020 Will Be, inspired by his family's pandemic experience. All of his major works have been fully produced and enjoyed by the Las Vegas community. His textbook, Jazz Starts Here, was published by Kendall Hunt in 2024. A recipient of the Nevada Regents Award for Creative Activities and a Grammy Music Educator Award nominee, Wary is also the longtime director of music at Mountain View Presbyterian Church. He is a frequent performer at the Composers Showcase at the Smith Center in Las Vegas, where his comedy songs are a highlight. He holds a Doctorate of Arts in Choral Conducting and Jazz Pedagogy from the University of Northern Colorado, a Master of Music from the University of Miami, and a Bachelor of Music degree from Hastings College. He continues to find joy in creating, teaching, and sharing music and laughter. Mark Wary.
Thank you, Hastings College, for this incredible honor. 6 weeks ago was Monday morning. I was having tea and reading the paper, and my phone buzzed, and I saw Hastings College was calling. I figured it was probably a pledge drive. But I answered anyway. Claire Bostelman informed me that the Hastings College Alumni Association had selected me for induction into the Hastings College Fine Arts Hall of Fame. I literally got chills when I heard those words. After I hung up, I turned to my wife and I said, Hastings College is inducting me into the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. And she replied, don't tell anybody, it's probably a prank call. My mom is a proud alumni of Hastings College. She was determined that I would go here, but she was sneaky. I remember my 15th birthday. I came downstairs into the kitchen just awaiting, what is my present going to be? There was nothing. And she said, your birthday present is to go to Evergreen Pines Summer Music Camp. Yes. Summer camp was my gift, and I was disappointed. But that summer changed everything for me. I was immersed in music. I sang in the choir. I played in the band. I was in a swing choir. I played in the jazz band, and that was my first exposure to jazz music. I went back 2 more summers and enrolled in Hastings College in 1978. My dad is also an alum of Hastings College. He played football with Tom Osborne. A few years ago, I found a program from their team. There was Tom's photo, some other guy didn't know, and then my dad. I checked the roster. Turns out my dad was the biggest man on the team. Look at me. I thought, God, couldn't I have just 2 more inches of height? Hastings College made a lasting impact on my life, but especially after I graduated. I came back to Hastings to visit my very good friend from Pawnee City and my college roommate, Kevin Hynum. Now, Kevin built a powerhouse forensics team here at Hastings College. He was a groomsman at my wedding, and I was a pallbearer at his funeral. I followed him around for a couple days, and I noticed something. Well, one thing, he didn't teach that many classes. And when he did, it looked like sheer joy with the relationships he had with his students. And that's when I started to think, I'd like to do that. Maybe I should be a college professor. Later, after earning my degree from the University of Miami, I visited Bear Johnson in his office. And I was struggling to land a college job, and I talked to him about it. He said, Mark, look at community colleges. That conversation has led to a 32-year career in counting. During my doctoral program, I came back for a 1999 performance of The Messiah. I lamented to Robin Kuzer that I had to develop a jazz appreciation course, and as I was leaving the meeting, the professor said, "Put it on the web." I had no idea how to do that. And Robin, with a smirk and a smile, said, "Mark, you just hire somebody to do that." And I did. I've been teaching jazz appreciation online for 25 years. Now I have to give a mention to our past inductees for this award. I realize I have a connection to nearly almost all of them. Ruth Moore was in the original class. She accompanied me on various performances in my undergrad. She is a wonderful musician and a wonderful personality. And I have to say, she gave me a B in private piano my senior year. And the amazing thing about that is, I still remember it, and it's been 43 years. Robin Kuzer, my mentor and dear friend, and Bear Johnson, just Bear, they personify the Hastings College music experience for me. How many lives did they touch over those years? Just magnificent men. And back then, the music department had like 110 majors. It was something else. Brian Erling, who was in last year's class, he accompanied me at Evergreen Pine Summer Music Camp, and also the Hastings Community Theater. I grew up in Pawnee City with Linda Johnson, Linda Metzger as I know her, singing together in church and school. We were part of the first swing choir in Pawnee City, and that was taught by Nancy Walker, who was last year's inductee and has gone on to have a stellar career as a music educator. Then there is Millard Cates. Millard did not exactly love my desire to sing contemporary music. And I didn't love his particular focus to have me sing nothing but classical music. But the foundation he gave me prepared me to succeed in all kinds of musical genres. And I have to mention my fellow inductee this year, Lynn Warren, or as we knew him then, Lindley. Everyone knows how terrifying it is the first 2 weeks of school are when you're trying to find a place to fit in. And I was friends with a music major named Stanley LaFollette. Lindley would shadow her around like a lovesick puppy. If I wanted to hang out with Sandy, there was Lindley Warren. One day I was driving down Burlington, and I saw a banner outside a Pizza Hut that said, "Lunch buffet, $1.99 on Fridays." If you remember the food service, back in the 1970s and 80s, it was called Saga, S-A-G-A, which backwards spells a gas. And I was desperate for something other than institutional food. So I went to the music building looking for anyone that I could have lunch with. I couldn't find anybody, except Lindley Warren. So I asked him, "Hey, Lindley, you want to go for lunch at Pizza Hut?" What I didn't know at the time was Lynn Warren will do anything for food. And we went, and in the course of our 2 hours of having that buffet, we became fast friends. He was all set to join, how shall I put it, the conservative fraternity. And I said, no, we're going to be at a feast. And we did. I loosened him up. In return, he made me a better student. I still tell my classes, there's at least one person in this room that is going to do anything to get an A. If a professor said, "If you want an A in my class, you will memorize the phone book," Lynn Warren would be the person to say, "Would you like addresses with that too?" It is an honor to be inducted alongside one of my closest college friends. In closing, I'd like to thank my parents, John and Bernie, for their patience and guidance, especially during my 20s when I was on a career path that wouldn't be considered traditional. I want to thank my cousin Fritz Mountford for showing me that a career in entertainment is possible after you graduate from Hastings College. And I'd like to thank the Eta Phi fraternity and the brothers for the friendship and growth that we shared, many of which continue to this day. And of course, my family who are here tonight. My son Sasha, a Renaissance man who has explored everything from jewelry making, smelting, to brewing his own liquor. I was his taste tester. And to creating pottery in the style of the Anastasi. My son John, who is an Emmy Student Award-winning writer. My daughter Kira and her partner Tanner, who are one of the top art influencers in the world. And lastly, my wife. an award-winning watercolorist in her own right based in Las Vegas. Hastings College, thank you. I have one more thing to do. This award means more than I can really say. Balding, yes, I'm balding, watching the hair fall off my head. Balding, yes, I'm balding, why do I have to shed? Sitting in a church pew, the men all in their rows, the sunlight hits their bald heads, it gives the church a glow. I wonder if they polish their shiny nose of chrome. I guess I should be thankful that I need a comb for balding. Yes, I'm balding, watching the hair fall off my head. Balding, yes, I'm balding, why do I have to shed? Does it skip a generation? Is it from my mother's side? My grandfathers were hairless, I want to run and hide. Uncles and cousins, they've all got sprigs. It's even hit the women. My aunts all wear wigs. They really do. Balding, yes, I'm balding, watching the hair fall off my head. Balding, yes, I'm balding, why do I have to shed? Do women find it sexy? The answer's often no. So shave off all your hair, and then she'll never know. Or if you've got the money, you can buy a rug. Look through your local paper and buy a wonder drug. For balding, yes, I'm balding, how does a hairpiece look to you? Balding, yes, I'm balding, transplant, buy a hair tattoo. If you've got the answer for hair like Goldilocks, please, sir, impart this knowledge, and we'll make $1 million. On balding, yes, we're balding, watching the hair fall off her head. Balding, yes, we're balding, why do men have to shed? Here we go now. Balding, balding, how does a hairpiece look to you? Balding, balding, transplant by a hair tattoo.
You should be around for our family dinners and Christmas.
I've certainly never been more affirmed for my hairstyle. Thank you, Mark. The next honoree tonight is Lynn Warren. And I have to say, just before I read his biography, I'm a fifth-generation Hastings native. And while I was a student at Hastings High School, our choir went on tour to Minnesota. And we went to Hastings High School. And I remember thinking, this is Hastings High, but it doesn't look like Hastings High. It was very strange. And I remember meeting Mr. Warren there and have had the pleasure of talking to him several times over the years. And so, Lynn Warren, class of 1982, retired from Hastings, Minnesota High School in 2017 after 32 years of teaching vocal music. During his tenure, he directed Select Chorale, the tenor bass choir, and Riverside Company, the school's varsity show choir. Warren received a Bachelor of Music degree from Hastings College and a Master of Arts degree in music from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Throughout his career, he received several honors, including the Outstanding Young Choral Director from the American Choral Directors Association of Minnesota in 1988, and Teacher of the Year in 1989, and Employee of the Year in 2009 for Hastings, Minnesota Public Schools. In 2014, he was named the Minnesota Choral Director of the Year by the ACDA of Minnesota. Warren's choirs have appeared at the Minnesota Music Educators Association Convention, the ACDA Minnesota Convention, the Divisional Music Educators National Conference, the Dorian Festival at Luther College, and the 2010, 2015, and 2017 Choral Arts Finale. He was also very active in organizing conferences for the ACDA at both the regional and national levels from 2005 to 2017. Following his retirement from teaching, he began a new career in sales with Gateway Music Festivals and tours. During his free time, he enjoys working as a clinician, competition judge, and accompanist for ensembles and soloists. Lynn and his wife, Kathy, are unable to be with us this evening. Offering remarks on Lynn's behalf will be our dear Dr. Robin Kuzer, Emeriti Professor of Music and Chair of the Department and retired Associate Vice President of the Hastings College Foundation. Dr. Kuzer is a 1976 Hastings College graduate and a 2021 Fine Arts Hall of Fame inductee. So, presenting the award, or accepting the award on Lynn Warren's behalf, Dr. Kuzer.
Mark, I used to do those kind of things. Now I sing for funerals. They do help, man. I'm deeply honored and humbled to be inducted into the Hastings College Fine Arts Hall of Fame. I truly wish I could be with you this evening to celebrate in person, but a long-planned commitment has kept me from attending. Please know how much I regret not being there to share this moment with all of you. Hastings College has a profound and lasting impact on my life. I was fortunate to learn from amazing teachers whose passion and commitment shaped not only my musicianship, but also my character. I especially want to recognize Dr. Elmer Schuck, who challenged me to refine my rehearsal technique and focus on the details that bring music to life. And Dwayne Johnson, Bear Johnson, whose encouragement and humor gave me confidence at a time I needed it most. And Charlotte Mills, who modeled grace, musicality, and excellence in everything she did. And Dr. Robin Kuzer, whose mentorship and belief in me shaped so much of my path forward. Each of them pushed me to grow in ways I could never have imagined. Their influence stayed with me through every rehearsal, every concert, and every day I spent in front of my own students. Equally meaningful were the friendships I formed here. Some of my closest friends, even today, are people I met at Hastings College. And of course, I was blessed to meet my wife, Kathy, here as well. Hastings College gave me not just an education, but a community, a family, and a lifetime of memories. There are so many things I'm thankful for. The opportunities, the guidance, the friendships, and the moments that continue to shape who I am. However, this recognition is not mine alone. It reflects the people and experiences that have supported and inspired me along the way. Thank you, Hastings College, for this incredible honor and for everything you have given to me. I hope you enjoy a wonderful evening of celebrating the power of the fine arts and the lifelong community that Hastings College creates. With heartfelt gratitude, Lynn Warren.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about Chris Scott, class of 2004, who is our next inductee for theater. He is an educator and a theater maker from Omaha, Nebraska. Considers himself mostly a native of Omaha. He holds a degree in theater from Hastings College, as well as a Master's of Art in Directing and Theater from Kansas State University. He's learned to direct plays as well as criticize them, even if they're his own. and pursued additional training in mime from Ohio State University under the guidance of Greg Dodson, and that training continues to inform his approach to performance, and apparently makes his dogs confused sometimes. He's both an active director, actor, passionate theater maker across Omaha, works in many of the performance spaces there, and has done lots and lots of roles. You can see just a few of them in your program here. But beyond the stage, he also serves as the Assistant Director for Academic Advising at the College of Education, Health and Human Sciences at University of Nebraska's Omaha campus. He brings the same passion and care to his students that he brings to his artistic work. He's a dedicated member of the Shelterville Theater Board of Directors and helps lead the company's new chapter focused on original works by local and regional playwrights. He's also the co-conspirator with the Old School Shakespeare at Omaha and likes to unleash the bard's works in bars throughout the city. So hopefully sometime you get the chance to see some of his works there. But for now, Chris, please come on up to accept your award.
Okay, last guy, I have a speech. Sorry, bear with me. I have to say that in true Hastings College fashion, at least for me, when I was here, I've been thinking about this speech for a while, but didn't start writing it until last night, and finished writing it in the car on my way here today. So, I have to start by saying that I'm honored and a little bit baffled that I'm here tonight as an inductee in the Hastings College Fine Arts Hall of Fame. Talk a little bit more about that later, but first, thanks to Hastings, the faculty members who I recognize who are still here from when I was here, especially George White, Dr. Kuzier, Louis Eckhart, who's been presenting with a student here when I was here. I have some great inappropriate stories about Louis too, not from private company. But I have to say that my first semester at Hastings, which would have been the fall of 1999, I actually failed concert choir. I tried to sneak into like a rehearsal for the Messiah, one of the last rehearsals, and the late Chip Smith stopped me and brought me out to the hallway and just politely-ish asked me to leave the room and not come back for the rest of the semester. Sorry, Mom, I don't know if you've heard this story before. And the reason that I missed college choir is because I spent my afternoons going and volunteering and working in the Hastings College Theater Scene Shop in the Scott Studio Theater instead of going to choir. I don't know, I just maybe didn't get it at the time that like you have to go to classes and go to choir if you want to participate in the shows. Eventually I sort of repaired my relationship with the music department and with Chip Smith and had a great time in a lot of the ensembles. But I think that the F that I got in concert choir that semester was worth it. Because a lot of the skills that I learned working in the scene shop, carpentry, how to problem solve, eating sawdust, I mean, all of those are skills that I still use to this day. And I still sing on stage every once in a while, and a lot more to myself in the shower. But I still think that that F in college choir was worth it because for me, theater isn't just a hobby. In high school, it kept me from drifting. It was one of the few constants that I knew I could show up for, and when other parts of my life were unsteady, the chance to step into a role or help build a set anchored me. The stage gave me a reason to keep going to school and to keep trying. I've never toured the country with a show. I've never been on stage at the Steppenwolf or on one of the Broadway stages. But I carry a feeling with me that theater is my home. And so, as I said before, I'm a little baffled standing alongside
tonight's other nominees. I feel definitely honored, but also kind of outgunned. You've heard people here talking about 30 years as a prestigious educator, careers that have spanned television and film, and of course all the stories of the wonderful artists connected with Georgia O'Keeffe and things like that. And you know, my path is one that is sort of quieter and maybe in some ways less glamorous, but it's mine and it's real. And I think that I'm one of the many people whose art never quit, even when it took a back seat. In my 20s, I decided that constantly chasing the next gig and trying to sell myself for the next contract was unsustainable. It was a lifestyle that I didn't really want to live. So I found another career, but I never left the theater behind. It became my side gig, my lifeline, my creative refuge. I believe that people like me, quietly devoted, locally rooted, are essential to keeping the arts alive, and especially in smaller cities and communities across the nation. I may not have Broadway credits, but I've helped tell stories in places that desperately need them. Here in the Midwest towns with fewer resources and fewer opportunities, theater is often marginalized, but that's precisely why it's vital. The stories we stage, the conversations we provoke, the voices we lift, they matter deeply. Theater doesn't have to be somewhere big to matter. It can root itself wherever it is, breathe life back into communities, celebrate local identity, question local assumptions, and invite people in. Over the last year, I've had the privilege of working on new plays, on classic plays. If you're ever in Omaha, come see Old School Shakespeare Omaha. It's a great experience. But I've also focused on centering voices that are too often neglected. Queer playwrights, playwrights of color, and others, stories that need to be heard now more than ever. And here's a moment that captures sort of my feelings about theater. Last week, I auditioned for a play, and I didn't get cast in the play, which is funny because I'm also producing the play. So definitely a tough audition room, I guess. You know, I talked with the director before before the auditions, right? And of course there were concerns, and I assured him that, like, you know, if I am the best for the role, then great. If I'm not, also great. Like, I want to make sure that your best vision is what's on stage. Because when it comes down to it, the theater is not just about one person. It's about all the people in the seats and about the community witnessing the show and about the connections we make with the show. We don't all end up on Broadway. We may not ever have national tour credits, but every city and small town has a theater or a school drama department or a community arts center. And those spaces need caretakers. They need people with conviction, with passion, and belief in the power of theater. The stories that we tell locally in Hastings, in Omaha, in Kearney, they preserve nuanced and rooted voices in our communities, and they resist the homogenization of art. I'm going to return to my opening with me failing out of college choir. The kid who flunked choir because he preferred sawdust and flats, that kid is still me. And now I have the keys to a set of theater, or the set of keys to a theater. And you know, every time I pull them out of my pocket, 18-year-old me, 19-year-old me, 21-year-old me jumps for joy. And I do a lot of work for those keys. But the keys, more than just bringing me a sense of joy, it also feels like a promise that I'm going to keep showing up, keep building, keep telling stories, and keep believing in the power of theater. Thanks for this recognition. And like I said, I'm going to continue telling stories, uplifting important voices, and insisting that theater matters. Because it does. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here this evening. A special thank you to our inductees. You truly exemplify the spirit of Hastings College. It's so much fun to have you here, hear your stories and your song. That was wonderful. And we were proud to celebrate your achievements. I look forward to enjoying the rest of homecoming. Hope you all stick around a little bit, and we'll continue to celebrate together. Thank you so much.